So, guys, as we all know, Anthony Joshua's next opponent will be IBF World Heavyweight Champion Charles Martin, who will be travelling over to the UK for April the 9th at the O2. I'm not going to go into ridiculous amount of depth in this video. I'm just going to talk about some intangibles that may hinder Joshua's route to winning. So, of course, this is one of the biggest men with some talent, I would say, that he's facing. Gary Cornish, of course, we all know what happened to him. He got blasted out in the round. So I wouldn't say he was a real test in terms of the big men that Joshua's faced. I think the southpaw stance will really be tricky for AJ. I think he will struggle with that. And, as we saw Joseph Parker in his last fight against Jason Bergman, who's rated the 11th or 12th best southpaw on BoxRec, if I'm correct. I haven't got BoxRec in front of me, unfortunately. But so we saw him, Parker, struggle with him, and I think AJ could follow suit and really struggle with him. He might win, but I don't think he'll look comfortable in doing so. Joshua, that is. So, thirdly, also the problem is that if he wins, which is not highly likely, but it can happen. As we know, Charles Martin isn't the best technician or the biggest puncher out there in the heavyweight division. So I mean, the people that he could potentially face after will, it's hard to say. I mean, hard to say him beating them just on beating Charles Martin. He could potentially face Carlos Takam, who's a really tricky fight. Gave Povetkin and Perez all sorts of problems. He can, and Tony Thompson even as well, who's a vet, who's facing Luis Ortiz next. And Joseph Parker's in the IBF rankings. Who else? There's Derek Chisora, who's a nightmare for anyone. I mean, I'd say AJ beats him, but again, not comfortable. Robert Helenius is in there. He might give him a bit of trouble. There's a lot of fighters in the IBF rankings. There's no soft touches, and I think Eddie Hearn saying he could learn on the job. It might be very difficult due to the IBF rankings being substantially better in at heavyweight than they are in other divisions. So I think it's tough to say where AJ goes after this, whether he wins or loses, as we don't know yet. I'd make AJ slight favourite, ever so slightly, 60-40 possibly, 55-45, but I give Charles Martin a big chance in this fight. I'm not an AJ critic. I'm not his biggest fan by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm not a diehard critic of Anthony Joshua. But I think if Charles Martin stays on the outside possibly and could use his jab, he has a decent jab. Nothing special, but a decent jab. He could upset Joshua's rhythm, and we know Joshua hasn't got the best hand speed or the best foot speed. So, I'm not going to say this is going to be an all action brawl, which it certainly won't be, between, I'd say, almost two flat footed. I wouldn't say plodders, but operators. Let's say that. So yeah, there's that, and secondly, I just want to talk about Gennady Golovkin versus Bernard Hopkins. There's a lot of talk around this, and it's an interesting fight. I mean, I was just watching Box Talk and their analysis of this fight in This Week in Boxing, and I don't know if you can consider Bernard Hopkins a marquee name. You can, but you can't at the same time, because he's at the complete twilight of his career, and it's very tough. I mean, he just got, I'd say, schooled by Sergei Kovalev, and it's I mean, is GGG on Kovalev's level? I don't know, but we certainly have not seen anything apart from the Lemieux fight that suggests he is on Kovalev's level. So you never know. I mean, Hopkins is probably thinking, well, if I spoil and move, I can get GGG out of his comfort zone. So he's obviously thinking it's not a fight I necessarily want, but it's a fight I can win, and maybe re-establish himself. If he does want another fight after this supposed last fight, he could fight someone else. But it is tough. I mean, at this age, I wouldn't want to see him cutting a lot of weight and moving down to face a destructive puncher such as Golovkin. And is it really worth it for him? He can get another payday somewhere else, and just ride off into the sunset. I don't think it's worth it for Hopkins. It's no point for him. It's a lose lose for him either way because you're not getting anything out of it, and you're not you're not going to lose anything out. It's just you're going to lose more out of it if anything. So I don't know. For GGG, on the other hand, it's a tough sell in my opinion to the greater boxing and casual market. Uh, I mean, GGG facing a guy who's 51 years old, he's cutting weight, and he's just been whooped in his last fight. I don't know how K2 and Tom Loffer are gonna sell that. So that's a really hard sell. And two, I don't think he'll get any credit if he does beat him, which is highly likely. So again for GGG, it's a lose lose as well. He doesn't benefit out of it. It's not a big money fight. So I mean, it's just I don't really see the point in this fight. But of course, I will watch if it's made, and it'll be interesting just to see if the old Hopkins can turn up and spoil and do a few things that GGG might not like. So yeah, that's my thoughts on AJ versus Martin and potential GGG versus Bernard Hopkins fight. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and comment your thoughts. And also to the subscriber who was talking about the lighting and backdrop, I hope it's a bit better for you. As you can see, I'm sitting behind the curtains downstairs, so yeah, I hope it's a bit better this time. And yeah, I will catch you guys soon with some new news that comes out during the week. And yeah, peace.